Okay, so are you thinking about getting a USB audio interface for your PC or your Mac? Well, you're in luck because today we're going to be doing an unboxing and review of the Focusrite Scarlett 2i4. Make sure you stay tuned.
This video is for you.
Hey, I'm Dale.
And I'm Walt.
This is Live Streaming Tech. If you want to learn more about live streaming online places like YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Mixer, and beyond,
Then click that subscribe button and turn that bell notification to on so you don't miss a single video.
So I've been streaming online for quite some time, and I've actually used an audio interface when it comes to my Movo microphones as well as the Rode NT1A, which we'll kind of go in depth a little bit more about those two specific items. If you want to take a look at our unboxing of the Movo Lavaliers, we actually have a link in the description down below. You can take a look at that. But we're going to be talking about the audio interface, and I previously was using the Tascam US322. Don't go looking for this. This product is now discontinued, and I think it's probably for very good reason. Why is that, man?
It died.
It died, yeah. And I've been using it a long time now. There's probably a variety of factors. I got a lot of use out of it. Honestly, I leave my PC on nearly 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Nearly. I shut it off at night. But, you know, every time it came on, this was powered on because I didn't feel like unplugging it and replugging it. And I think that might have taken some wear and tear on it.
And where also did you store it?
I also stored it inside my drawer, and sometimes I closed it, and of course, naturally, the heat would start to heat up. So what ended up happening is it started to kind of slowly but surely die. It was getting a lot of scratchy sounds on it. No matter what I did, I was having some issues. So I immediately started looking for a new audio interface, and I'd actually talked to a good friend of mine, and we'll actually insert it right here. Anthony Fleischman Jr. actually had recommended to me the Focusrite, and he recommended the Scarlett, and that's the beautiful box right here. It is the Focusrite Scarlett 2iB. Now, let me just go ahead and break this down, and also it's the second generation, just to kind of be clear.
Okay.
Now, there are many, many, many features. You might be asking a question. What would that question be, Walt?
Why switch? Why not? I mean, obviously for reasons, but why not stick with Tascam? Not that specific model, but why not? Why the brand change?
You know, I looked at a lot of Tascam's products, and they didn't have anything as simple as this. I don't need anything super fancy. Okay. I just want something that's going to provide phantom power to my lavalier microphone and phantom power to my Rode NT1A. And that's 48 volts. So this had powered 48 volts. The other thing is, I also want to have something that I can put 1/4-inch jacks into, because when I'm not live streaming, I like to record music from time to time. So I want to have something I can plug 1/4-inch jacks into. So this is kind of a good thing. If you have a microphone that has a 1/4-inch jack and not an XLR, you can actually utilize this on the Focusrite Scarlett. But we have the two slots that we're going to actually use for XLR. So you can see this is where we're talking through right now. Yeah. And as I talk, you can see the little tachometer coming on and such. The really cool thing is if we unplugged it, and I'll do a little bit of an overlay here. When you unplug it, you'll notice there's a 1/4-inch jack in the middle. So let's look over here. You'll see there's a switch on each one of them. It's the line in and the instrument. Now, instrument would be, of course, your 1/4-inch. I would recommend, if you use 1/4-inch, shut off the 48 volt. Now, it is all or nothing. So you either use the phantom power or you don't use it. So we've got the switches on here and a couple of buttons that will kind of suppress a little bit of the sound here. Coming a little bit further over, this is actually great for doing between the input and the playback. So if you're doing a lot of like recording through any kind of digital audio workstations, this is kind of nice so you can kind of hear it. And next thing is going to be the direct monitor, where you're going to be doing stereo or mono. And since we kind of like to be on the same channel, it's always going to be on mono. Then we're coming over here. This is kind of your main gain, all right? This is what's going to be pushing your volume. So it controls each of the individual microphones, but this controls the entire thing. Last but not least, we come on over here to where we actually have a headphone jack. Now you'll notice that I have a 1/4-inch adapter in here. That's not with the actual product itself, and I actually can pull this out because I actually use my headphones for this. That runs like $2 at your...
So that didn't come with it then.
No, that did not come with it. I don't want to confuse anybody, but this actually will control the headphones on everything.
Okay.
Now, I'm actually going to show just a still shot of some of the things on the back of the actual device. But all that to say this, that there is actually a USB cord that comes along with it. It's red, it plugs in. There's nothing fancy. You don't really need to know anything more than that. Beautiful thing about the Scarlett 2i4 is that actually Pro Tools came free with it.
I remember you said that today.
Yeah, that's pretty killer, man. It's not going to do any favors for you when you're live streaming, but nonetheless, you have those things.
What if you want to, do some content creation, using Pro Tools? I mean, it's an option. There's a lot of people that play music and live stream, so.
So there was that's the features so far that I can kind of tell you. The big thing that happened right out the gate was I plugged it in, I went ahead and live streamed right away. We're live without a net, and I went ahead and I used my Rode NT1A, sounded beautiful. Here's the big issue though, when it comes to when I first got it, they wanted a firmware update like right away. Well, I didn't update it because I had to go live, and so I listened and it sounded great. As soon as I did the firmware update, the issue came when I went ahead to go live again, and it had more of a suppressed audio sound to it.
So the sounds were kind of low, too low.
It was a little too low. Now, this is where I was spoiled with the Tascam US322. It actually has like a digital audio workstation to where you can do EQ, you can boost the audio. There was so many cool things about that. Focusrite doesn't have that. They have something that's called the Focusrite ASIO control panel. Now, that doesn't really control much other than the sample rate and the buffer size. Now, the sample rate, I'm going to keep it simple. Like, there is two options that you're going to want to take advantage of if you're streaming. It's either 44.1 kilohertz or 48 kilohertz. Mm-hmm. They have an additional 4 options that go really up there. So if you're recording music, you can go up to 88.2, 96, 176.4, and 192. All that to say this, that I did a lot of research and I had to kind of go, okay, this is nerd talk here.
Yeah, actually, you texted me that day too.
Yeah. And here's the thing is, to the human ear, you're really not able to hear much more than 20 kilohertz anyways. So you're not going to be able to differentiate between 44.1 and 48.
Now watch the audio snobs go nuts in the comments
below.
They're
going to go crazy, right? Yeah. When you do go to 48 kilohertz, it's going to be eating up a lot more resources. Yeah. Do you need to be eating up a lot of resources when you're live streaming on just the sound that no one's really probably going to pick out?
And they're probably watching you on mobile or a console or something like that.
So yeah, if you're trying to go
not like they're listening to you on surround sound or anything.
This would work out, I think, if you were like a television news station that's say streaming on YouTube, then maybe. But I mean, if you're just live streaming some games and such, now, don't take yourself too seriously. 44.1 has always worked really well for me, and it has never led me astray. Now, if you ever find, here's a little bit of a tip, overlay over top of this here. I'm going to give you today's tip, and it is, if you ever hear any kind of ticks or any kind of like glitches when you're streaming in the audio, make sure your PC is set up at 44.1, that your audio interface is set up at 44.1, and then if you're running OBS or Streamlabs OBS, 44.1, because if you don't have those to where they're all matching, it's going to end up having these glitches. And it used to drive me crazy, and I just ended up changing it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so simple. Why didn't it just automatically do it?
Yeah, you would think it would, but it doesn't.
And then there's the buffer size. All that comes down to audio latency. 62, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, and 1024. Kept it right about 32. The audio latency is great on this. And when I say audio latency, that means the delay between you saying it and actually showing up in your viewers' ear holes, if you will.
So let me get this straight though. You're staying at the 44.1 for what reason?
Really, it's not taking up that much resources.
Okay.
And to be honest, it's just the gold standard. It's the minimum that you should be setting it at. And then for most, like I said, OBS, Streamlabs OBS, it's not going to go beyond 48 kilohertz anyways. Okay. So there's no need.
That sounds like a future video that we need to shoot and compare them to see if we can hear the difference and the viewers can hear the difference.
And so all in all, the Scarlett 2i4 ran me about 170. That was about the same price Tascam ran me a couple years ago when it was probably 160, I think it was. May have been a little less than that. It's nice. Could I just get a desktop mic, USB microphone? Sure, I could. But I do like having the ability that the two of us can share microphones, that I can record content, that I can really get it dialed in. Now, if there's one little nitpicky thing I would say is, I would like to have just a digital audio interface that I can tweak in the EQ. But I'm sure the advice you would give me would be something through OBS or Streamlabs
Yeah,
OBS.
I mean, if you play around with the OBS, so say you're using Streamlabs OBS or OBS Studio, believe it or not, there's plenty of filters. I know that you've actually found them, and I've been preaching to you about this forever. Noise suppression, noise gate. Play around with those. Here's the thing: all our voices are different in the rooms in which we live stream or record in. For instance, Dale has like a 20-foot ceiling here, where you go to my house, and you're lucky if you have 8-foot clearance where I record at. So the sound is going to bounce around differently, and obviously I'm using different microphones. But you'd be surprised. There's also virtual software out there that you can get that have virtual EQs, that kind of stuff, and they're totally free. I will put a link down there in the description below. You can play around with it as I did, but I came to find out I really didn't need that, and I just used what OBS offered me and Streamlabs OBS offered me to tweak my microphone. And you got a lot nicer microphones than what I have. So if I can make it sound good, pretty much anyone can make it sound good. But you know what also sounds good is you looking at this video right over here where we show you the R7 rig rundown. This is actually what Dale records off of and live streams on. And you'll get to see the old dead Tascam in it back when it was working in its heyday. So we'll see you there.